Do you want to know how to get into your dream, maybe Ivy League school? Have you been watching admission reaction videos for the last 5 years? Do you have a dream school that you want to get into? And have you been watching the stats of candidates who have gotten into those schools? Me too. So today I want to give you some actionable actual steps on how you can actually achieve your goal of getting into an Ivy League school or any other T20 school, and what is actually necessary to get into one of those schools, and what factors are a little bit overrated. So let's get started. The first factor is your grades. You need to have top grades in classes that are pretty hard. So, as many AP classes or whatever equivalent your school offers, and in those classes, the best possible grades. But there are some more factors to it that are not as known. So, number one, you do not need perfect grades throughout your 4 years of high school. It's fine if your grades weren't as good in freshman year. It's also fine if your grades slipped at some point, as long as you explain it in the additional information section. Yeah. But nobody's going to reject you because of a B in one class in sophomore year or junior year. Don't worry about that. Second of all, if you don't have any of those classes available, you do not need to take Khan Academy AP classes outside of your school. That's also not expected of you. And point number 3, your classes need to make at least some sense. So if you're going to apply as a computer science major, you need to have something computer sciencey in your application if you want to get admitted for that major. Even if you're applying to a liberal arts school where you don't apply for a major, but they're still going to ask you what you're considering. And very importantly, if you're a very musical person and you want to take that choir class, but they don't offer it as an AP, take it. They do not expect you to give up on a class that you really like just to get that one extra AP point. That's not the point in taking classes. And they also don't want you to do that in college, so take classes that you actually want to be taking. Factor or point number 2, extracurricular activities. That one is trickier than the one with the grades because people are doing a lot of tricking around and resume building. You need to do something that you actually like doing. This is your ground rule with extracurricular activities. And I'm not just saying this, I've done a shit ton of research. All the admissions officers at the top schools are saying that they can see in an application when someone is doing something just to have it in their application. So how can you do that? Number 1, you can show that you use that activity to help your community. So for example, you could play the piano at a hospital rehab station, for example, for patients who are relearning how to speak and it's helping their brain development. Oh, whatever, something like that. Just thinking about it as a person, isn't that just so much more impressive to say, someone who says, yeah, I play the piano because it just makes old people so happy. They're often so cranky, and now those old people are not as cranky anymore since I've played the piano for them, as opposed to I play the piano and I'm the best in my city. Who would you rather accept, right? So admissions officers feel the same way about it. The thing I just said about the piano, you can obviously transfer that idea to any other activity. So whatever you do, you can collect birds. I don't care what you do. I really don't care. I can't emphasize this enough. Don't give up on something you love just because you want to go to Harvard. That's not gonna get you in, right? The only way you can get in with a mediocre activity is showcasing that you love it more than any other person in the city, room, whatever. Yeah. And another piece of advice for extracurricular activities is show them how it connects to other areas of your life, connect the dots for them. So for example, you could do research on how music affects the brain, and then how that effect can help patients recover faster from whatever they're suffering from. And also, you're volunteering at a hospital where you're playing the piano for those old people, like I told you before, right? And you could actually experience with your own eyes how those people felt happier, and because they felt better about it, because something get moved in their brain, they're recovering faster. I'm inventing this. Like, this is not an actual, maybe it is a thing, I don't know, but you get what I mean, right? Like, connect the dots between different things in your application, and that is what is going to get you in. That is like such a winner. The third point is having a good character. You can be sure that all top 50 or whatever colleges very much care about their applicants having a good character. Make sure you have somewhere hidden in your essays, or just somewhere, something that says, I'm a good person and here's why. They want to read in a letter of recommendation that you are nice to your classmates. Otherwise, the committee meeting is not going to be in your favor. And another way you can make sure you show that you're a good person is also by connecting that to other dots in your application. So honestly, if you don't have that many activities, or even if you do, like if you help out a lot in your household and you cook dinner every night, or you take care of your siblings many hours a week, write that in your extracurricular activity list and say, hey, one commitment is taking care of something in the household. That's a good person kind of thing, right? And a huge responsibility. And also one of those things like volunteering or any of those things, like don't volunteer just to volunteer, like connect it to something, make it make sense. But because everyone's volunteering nowadays, right? So you gotta show them that you actually care about that. But show them that you're a good person. That's a huge one. Like, that's so important. Point number 4 is intellectual curiosity. That one is very important, especially for liberal arts schools like Yale or Brown. What does intellectual curiosity mean? Basically, it means that you're excited to learn new things and you're excited to connect dots that haven't been connected before, and that after class, when there's been an interesting discussion, you want to keep having that discussion with your classmates while drinking coffee. Or maybe it means that you start your own research project because you care. Or maybe you're a English literature major, but you're still gonna do science research because you're just interested. Like, even if it's not gonna count for anything. They want people who are curious about life and interested in learning new things, not just for grades. How can you showcase that? You can showcase that for sure in an essay. There's nothing greater for an admissions officer than to read an essay that is about a passion for any academic kind of thing. And it doesn't have to be a subject at your school, it can be private too. But they love to see that. It can be showcased in letter of recommendations, and since you have no control over that, just make sure that in a classroom you're the kind of person who speaks up, who asks interesting questions. And another way you can showcase this is by having an activity that involves any kind of study thing. So if you, in your free time, do research with a professor at a college, that would be intellectual curiosity. Point number 5, maturity. That one is huge, and I think many people do not consider this in their application. Maturity basically means that you're able to live on a college campus away from your parents, and also that you will not get into weird high school-y fights with other people, and that you're nice to other people, and that you are responsible. And point number 6 is for my international students like me. You need to be really fucking fluent in English. That is so important. They will not accept students who have mediocre English skills. So there's exactly 2 ways to show it. The first one is you need to take an English proficiency test, and you will take IELTS or TOEFL or Duolingo English test, oh, one of those, and get a certain score. Like you can just Google it on one of those like Harvard or whatever websites. You can just see which score you need, and you just have to meet the benchmark, and then you're fine. And there's no way of getting around that except if you've been at a bilingual school, so like English and whatever your language is, for at least 3 years, and no English classes do not count as that. And point number 2 is your essays. So make sure, especially as an international student, that your essays are perfect grammar and stuff wise. Don't worry if you have an accent though, that's fine. Everyone has one, like me. Whichever grade you're in, wherever you're at on your journey, make sure that those 6 points are covered. If you're not an international applicant, then the 6th one, you can just like forget about that one. Really good grades and challenging classes, activities with a meaning, a good character, intellectual curiosity, maturity, and number 6, fluency in English. I wish you a ton of luck on your application journey, wherever it leads you. Hit that subscribe button and like or do not like my video if you feel like doing that. I don't care. Okay, bye.